Hello everyone, Sandy here. Today we're doing a VR to a hashtag called Get Your Decks Out. And this tag is by Feeding My Soul 1212 on YouTube. I will link the original video down below for you to have a look. So I saw this tag when Krista made a video for it, and I thought the questions were so random and fun that I needed to pop on to do my own VR to this tag. So without further ado, the first prompt, there are 15 questions and I will be showing you a deck for each question. All right. The first prompt is a deck you want to use, but for whatever reason it hasn't seen any playtime on your desk. So there is no real actual reason for why it hasn't been on my reading desk yet. It's just because it's so brand spanking new that I just haven't had the time yet. And that is the Quiet Rebel Oracle. It's a Kickstarter deck that I recently got in. I had it shipped to my mother-in-law in England, and she kept it for me for when we came over to visit. And yeah, my partner recently went over to visit them and brought this home for me, and so this is why I haven't had a chance to use it yet. As soon as I saw this, the deck is by Lynn Thurman. It's the same creator as for the Tarot of the Depths, I think it's called. It's another collage deck that I have and love. And just the moment I saw this deck on Kickstarter, I thought, yes, I need this. It's so fun and unique, and I really love the little key phrases that you get. Unfinished symphony, nothing is normal. It's a very, very fun, playful deck, and I can't wait. Really can't wait to start using it. I really love this type of collage as well. It's so funny that because when I saw this on Kickstarter, I had recently started my own collage deck with vintage photographs as well. So I thought this was really funny, and a lot of fun to see how other collage artists approach what their collage style is like. So this one is a lot of fun for me to look at. I love this card. It's so poignant. Ghosts of expectations, unlearning, and then you can like see this kind of photograph of these kind of maybe aunts or like ancestors of some kind that are kind of like looking back at you and judging what you're doing. Yeah, it's such a cool and funny deck. I love this. I love the determination on her face as well. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yeah, it's a fun deck, and I really can't wait to start using it properly. Right, so that's the Quiet Rebel Oracle by Lynn Thurman, and she actually has a another Kickstarter on at the moment for the Quiet Rebel Tarot. Just an FYI for you all. So you should, if you like the look of this oracle, you should go and check that out on Kickstarter. I can also link that one down below. All right, the next prompt is the 12th deck from the right on your tarot shelf, and that just so happens to be the Spirit of Flowers Tarot. This one is unfortunately out of print, so I apologize for that. But it is an old mass market deck by Lo Scarabeo, with artwork by Antonella Castelli. It's a very pretty, like kind of flower fairy-esque deck. A lot of the pictures are clearly inspired by the original flower fairies. And yeah, it's a deck I've mainly used in spring and summertime. Haven't used it for a while then, but now it's actually quite funny that I'm doing this video right as spring is coming here in Finland, and funnily enough it actually snowed a little bit today, but it's very sunny, and there's the leaves are starting to pop out on the trees, and it's beautiful. So this deck here is a very cute and lovely little spring deck, and I am very happy that I managed to find this secondhand off eBay a couple of years back. So that was the 12th deck from the right on my tarot shelf. Now, the third prompt in this tag is a deck you're thinking about rehoming. And I have a few decks that I do have on like a shelf specifically for thinking about maybe I don't want or need these anymore. And I was thinking about which ones I should show you here, because I think I've shown you most of them in some previous videos at some point. So I decided to go for the one that I most recently put in there, and that is the Tarot of Oneness. And the reason why I've been hesitating to rehome this, I am hesitating to rehome it because I was very kindly gifted this deck by one of my viewers, and in a trade that I did with them, but they decided to send me an extra deck, and that was this one. And I was so incredibly grateful. I still am, because I was about to buy this deck. However, I have not been able to connect with this deck, and I do not for the life of me know why. It should tick all of my boxes. I mean, we have a cute little rabbit in the bottom of the box. It really should. It does tick most of, like, all of my boxes, but there is something about it. As you can see, it's even... Oh, it's not actually in order. I thought it was in order. Everything but the Fool, apparently. Oh, there the Fool is. Right, so it's nearly in order. Yeah, I really don't know what it is. Oh, no, it actually isn't in order. All right, then. Never mind. Stop faffing about. Right. See, I love this Spirit of Wands. It's gorgeous. Love it. I love this Four of Pentacles. But I don't know what it is. Why I can't connect with this deck. Here we've got the separate lovers. Yeah, it's very pretty in every way, but there is something about it that just doesn't click with me, and I feel really sad about it, to be honest. I really don't like rehoming decks that I've been given or gifted with a, you know, it doesn't sit right with me, but at the same time, I don't like it just sitting there when it could make somebody else happy. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a pinch. See, this world card is beautiful. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a pinch when it comes to this deck, to be honest. So yeah, I haven't decided what to do with it yet, if I'm going to rehome it or not, but it is one that I'm considering rehoming, so hence me showing it now. Right. That was the Tarot of Oneness. Now, the fourth prompt is a deck you don't store in its original box, and why? Well, there was a time when I was buying decks that I basically made a bag for every single deck that I bought. Because I make my own bags, and I love matching bags with decks and creating these holistic kind of package. And there was, if a deck came in a tuck box, it was certainly going to get a bag. That was at least what happened in one time of my tarot journey. But it's not like that anymore, because I actually really like the way I've started storing my decks. I really like storing them in their own boxes if it's possible to do that. Sometimes the boxes are just too big or bulky, and then I just like to take them out of the box and store them separately from the box. But in this case, the reason I chose this specific deck, it's because I'm particularly proud of how the bag came out, and that is this bag here that I made for the Fairy Tarot. As you can see here with the backs. I went all in with hand embroidering this patch to match the backs here, and it is, so you can see properly, the Fairy Tarot by Natalie Hertz. And I will put that to the side for a moment so we can look at the deck. So this deck is a funny one, and I've shown it several times on my channel before, but it's a very 90s feeling nostalgic deck to me, and I don't know, it holds a very specific place in my heart because it's so cheesy and funny in many regards, and the colors are just so bright and uplifting, and yeah, and there are a few gnomes and trolls in here, which I always love in a deck. Let's see if I can find my favorite card. That's one of my favorites because I just love these little gnomes. And this is another one, riding on the frog. So good. Yeah, this one as well, the tower. I love that the tower is a amanita mushroom. So good. sun is so creepy. Oh, just this deck, it's so, look at these, they're just too creepy. It's so funny. But yeah, that's the Fairy Tarot by Natalie Hertz. Right, the next prompt is a deck with more or less than 78 cards. So this could essentially be any of my oracle decks, and that's basically what I did. I just went with the most recent, other than the Quiet Rebel oracle, that I haven't shown on my channel before, I don't believe, and that is new to me as well. So that is the Faces and Forests Oracle deck by Catherine Riles. And yeah, this deck I've been waiting for ages. I backed it on Kickstarter. Absolutely adore these backs. I backed it on Kickstarter, had it shipped to my friend Krista, and she kept it for me at hers until we were ready to send it over. So this deck here it's so gorgeous. I haven't had a chance to properly use it yet. I've only pulled a few cards from it, but the few cards that I have pulled have been so spot on and beautiful, and I really love the artwork. I adore the little questions here that I have been using as journal prompts. And yeah, there's just something extra about this artwork. I absolutely adore it. I've been following the creation of this deck on Catherine's Instagram as well, and so it feels so special to finally have it in my hands. Oh, and something I forgot to tell you about. Look at these gorgeous brown edges. I absolutely love them. So this deck is really exciting to me at the moment, and I am super eager to use this more as well. So this is the same this is the same artist, sorry, as the person who created the Roots and Wings oracle, in case you feel like the artwork feels a bit familiar. That's why. All right, I'm not going to go through the whole deck, but even though I could easily. Right, so this here is the Faces and Forests by Catherine Riles. Now, the next prompt is a deck with a cloud on the box. I love these prompts. Now, it turns out that I have quite a few decks with clouds on their boxes. So I had a hard time choosing which one to show you. So I've got the Kawaii Tarot that's full of clouds. We've got the Goblins and Gardens Tarot with clouds in the background. We've got the Carte Postal Tarot that I've shown you a lot of times. I would show you this one because I love it so much, but I am not sure what the status is with this one. The creator disappeared suddenly and hasn't been selling the deck for a while, but I did hear that she's resurfaced and might be selling them soon again. So, but either way, I have full walkthrough of this one in my channel, so I won't show this one right now. And I have been banging on about the Goblins and Gardens quite a lot, so I think we're going to go for the Kawaii Tarot. It's partly also because it's not just on the box. Basically, the whole deck is full of clouds. So here are the backs. This deck is so sweet and cute, and I just adore it. I adore this deck so much. It was one that I really didn't think I was going to get, because I thought, no, it's blue. First of all, blue is not really my favorite color, unless you've noticed. And I thought it's too, I don't know what I thought, but it's perfect. It's perfect. I love it so much. I love all of these round little animals and their surprised little faces, and I adore these little quirkiness. The quirkiness in this deck is just beyond. I love it so much. It makes me laugh, and it nearly makes me cry how cute it is, to be honest. So let's just look at that penguin with the little top hat. Come on. Oh, yeah, I could gush on and on about this deck. I adore it to bits. It's one of the decks that I actually just bring out just to look at the pictures when I'm feeling down, because it always makes me so happy looking at this deck. It's yeah, it's adorable as all heck. So yeah, that's the Kawaii Tarot by Lulu Mayo, in case I forgot to say the creator's name. And this is a mass market deck as well. Very, very easy to get a hold of, and well worth it, I think. All right, so the next prompt is prompt number 7, a deck you've never shown on your channel. Now, I've already shown you 2 decks that I've never shown on my channel before, and it just so happens I believe I have 2 more decks that I've never shown on my channel before, but I'm only going to show you one, and that is the Ombligo Ubiquo deck. It's a very special deck by Jessie Cohen that has gone through a lot to get here to me. So this deck is a special deck because the artist lives in Mexico, and she doesn't ship outside of Mexico, which meant that I was never going to get a hold of this deck if it was not for the lovely Mariana of Mariana Mas Books and her friends. So Mariana bought this deck for me, then gave the deck to her friends' parents who were coming on a trip to Mexico from Germany. They took the deck to Germany. The deck was sat at her friend's place for quite a while, until she was able to send it to me here in Finland. So it's been on a trip and a half to get here to me, and it's a very weird and cool deck. So as it says here on the box, it says Ombligo Ubico is a deck of 62 cards for individual and collective dreaming, oracle reading and games. And it says here inside the flap, Ombligo means navel or center of primordial connection and nourishment, and ubiquo means everywhere. So I'm going to quickly have a little flip through of this. So it comes in several different suits. As you can see, I have shuffled this. So this deck doesn't come with any titles on the cards. There are, however, some in the guidebook. And yeah, this deck is super interesting and beautiful. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous, in my opinion. And super weird. So let's have a look at 45, just because it's a fun thing to just look up what it says. So 45, of course it's going to be something I can't pronounce. So 45 is a quetzal phoenix. Sorry, I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce this. I don't know how to pronounce it. You are the mother that continuously births yourself into being. I mean, how cool is that? How cool is that? Every cycle bears within it the energy of the cycles that are to come. We all have the capacity to birth ourselves into new stages of our life. The phoenix is both the midwife and the mother that we all carry inside us. Here, burning with the life-giving flames of transformation, the phoenix is birthing a new and vibrant version of itself, remembering that you can do the same. Beautiful. I love this guidebook. I love the artwork. It's so quirky and weird and outside of the box thinking. Honestly. Look there, there's a little foot in the fire. Yeah, all right. I will do another video on this, although I do believe that there are a few videos of this on YouTube already. However, if you would like me to do a full walkthrough of this, just let me know in the comments down below. All right, the next prompt, hang on, is a deck with another animal besides a lion in the strength card. Right. Well, I know I have quite a few of these, but I decided to just go for the first one that came to mind, and that was the Spirit Song Tarot. Have not talked about this deck in a long time. I have trimmed this deck, and here is the strength card. Courage and endurance with an elephant. It's actually the picture on the box. So yeah, this is a beautiful little deck by Paulina Cassidy, previously known as Paulina Faye, or is it the other way around? She's got a very specific and recognizable art style, and this deck here is one of my favorite of hers. I do also love Joie de Vivre. I haven't got any of her newest ones. But I do love this one to use as an oracle as well as a tarot deck. Just because the animals are just so beautifully depicted in this. It's so dreamy. Yeah. All right, so that's the Spirit Song Tarot. Right, the next prompt is a deck that comes in a box inside another box. So there's quite a few of these as well, but I decided to show you the newest one that I have that has a box inside a box. And that is, careful of the candle. The Victorian Fairy Tarot, the new Kickstarter edition by Linnea Weatherstone, Carrie Paris, and the art is by Gary A. Lippincott. So I have the original Llewellyn version of the Victorian Fairy Tarot. It is one of my all-time favorite decks. It has a very special place in my heart, and Linnea and Carrie were so incredibly Linnea and Carrie were so incredibly generous to gift me a copy of their Kickstarter edition of this deck. Now, I will probably still be using my original because that one I've bonded with it. It's just that's my deck, you know. But this feels very, very special to have in my collection as well. So this box is humongous, and it actually contains 1, 2, 3 other boxes plus a book. so yeah, this one has definitely got boxes and boxes inside other boxes. And here are the cards. It's beautiful, beautiful deck, so warm and full of just inspiration and warmth and feeling emotion. One of my favorite cards. Most of these cards in the deck is my favorite card. To be honest, this one, I love this one. Oh, adore it. Right, so I've gushed about this deck so many times on this channel, so I'm not gonna make this video much longer by gushing some more. But yeah, the Victorian Fairy Tarot, so good. And that is a deck in a box. Right, the next prompt is prompt number 10. A deck that would not appear in your top 10 favorites ever, I presume. Well, that's a very, very difficult thing for me to answer because I change my mind all the time, and my moods change and my preferences change, and a deck that I loved half a year ago could now be sitting on the shelf being not used because I found something else that appeals to me more in this moment. So this was a very difficult prompt for me, but I did find a deck in my shelves that I know will probably never ever be in my top 10, and that is a deck that I have purely for nostalgia reasons, because it's the very, very first Oracle deck that I ever bought. It is not the same copy anymore, but I did find it and bought it secondhand off eBay a few years back, because I just felt like I wanted to see it again after not having seen it since I was a kid. And that is the Healing with the Fairies Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. And I can safely say that this deck is not ever going to be in my top 10. It is not one of my favorites at all. It just brings me a very big sense of nostalgia and yeah, childhood feels, because I remember these so vividly in my mind, you know, something that I played with a lot as a kid and that I bought for my own money, that I had gotten for my birthday or whatever. It's just, the artwork is quite clearly by a lot of different artists, and it's so 90s. It's so incredibly 90s. It's so cheesy, and it's just all over the place, to be honest. It is all over the place. So, and the only, like I said, the only reason why I'm keeping it is because the nostalgia factor. I don't think I've actually ever pulled a card from this deck since when I got it in. Of course, I pulled a couple of cards then, but it is not in my regular use, so to speak. But I love it for its corniness, for its cheese factor, for the nostalgia and the memories. This one reminds me, she looks like a Dolly Parton a little bit. Or somebody from like The Bold and the Beautiful or something, you know, Dallas. Yeah, so that's Healing with the Fairies by Doreen Virtue. The deck that will never be in my top 10. All right, number 11, a deck you associate with the color green. Now, I have many green decks, many green decks, or at least decks that remind me of the color green, or that I associate with it. However, there is really only one that is so super green that it could not be any other deck, and that is the Tree Whisperer Oracle, the Secret Garden Edition by Maggie Black. This deck is constantly out of print, but Maggie keeps doing smaller print runs. So if you are interested in this deck or any of her other Tree Whisperer Oracles, then I recommend subscribing to her channel and to her blog, because that's where she announces when she is making a print run. And I actually think she's doing one now, or she has been doing one now, a pre-order, that is to say. So yeah, this deck is, I love this deck. I love it so much. I wish I used it more. I do use it quite a lot, but honestly, I could probably sit with this in my hand all the time. I love it to bits. It's such a special deck, and I find new faces in these trees all the time. And there is no greener deck in my collection than this. I mean, I did initially think of Forest of Enchantment Tarot, because that is a very green deck. But I thought this one deserved a spot in the limelight for a bit. Oh, I love this one. I love Notice the face is just so prominent in this one. There's another one up there, another face. Do you see it? Anyway, that is the Tree Whisper Oracle by Maggie Black, Secret Garden Edition. Okay, the next deck is a second-hand, pre-loved, pre-owned, thrifted deck. So I have quite a lot of these because I actually adore buying decks second-hand. A lot of these decks that I've shown you already are actually secondhand, like the Healing with the Fairies was secondhand. Hang on. Yeah, the Goblins and Gardens that I showed you before was secondhand. What else have I shown you? Either way, a lot of my decks are secondhand is what I'm trying to say. But the deck that I thought that I would show you now that I thrifted last. Which one was that? I actually have, there's two. There's these two that I have bought secondhand. So this is the Compendium of Constellations by Claire Goodchild. This one is out of print. I managed to buy this secondhand from a fellow YouTuber, tarot tuber. Very excited about this one. And then I also got, I can't remember who I bought this one from. Either way, it's the Energy Archaeology Oracle deck. And I think because the Compendium of Constellations are all kind of like this with their constellations there and some keywords, I love these backs. I have decided to, well, I showed you this a little bit, but I'm going to show you the Energy Archaeology deck. I do not know if this one is out of print, I'm sorry. I can't remember, but I love these matte gilded edges, these beautiful backs, and the artwork in this deck is spectacular. And the guidebook is super interesting as well. So this deck clearly, as you can see, is themed around the skeletons in our body and the energy surrounding those bones and how they, like the hurt or the energy that can be stored in those bones and released from them, from what I gather from the guidebook. But the artwork is just absolutely phenomenal. There are so many cards in this deck that I absolutely love. God, look at that. Forgiveness. Capacity. Oh, love it. Love, love, love. So this is the Energy Archaeology deck by Ashley Stinson and illustrated by Kelly Finan. Finan? How would you pronounce that? Finan. Finan. I'm not sure. Finan. I'm deciding. My apologies if it's wrong. Now, the next deck. Which one did I decide for this? Oh yes, I remember. I've got a whole I've got a very big mess around me, so that's why I couldn't see the one that I had chosen because it's underneath everything. So the one that I've chosen for this is the Our Tarot. This is a fairly new deck in my collection. This is the mass market version of Our Tarot. It is in order, I believe. No, it's not. I'm lying. I'm lying to you. It's not in order, but basically, look at this. Oh. The reason why this guidebook is the one I chose for this prompt is because I bought this deck specifically for the reason of going through each card and reading the guidebook properly. Like, look at this chunky thing. So I got this because this deck is essentially just a deck filled with prominent women from history, and I really wanted to see how each card had been which people had been chosen for each card, and then to get to read about that person's life in a few pages, and learn about women from history that I haven't necessarily always heard of. Most of them I have, or a lot of them I have heard of, but just getting to know a bunch of sometimes even forgotten women from history, to learn more about their lives and how they and their lives kind of intertwine with the meanings of the tarot cards. It sounds super interesting to me. So this is the book that I've been reading, or I'm meaning to read a lot of in the next few weeks and months, because I will be pulling a card if not every day, then every other day, and reading the pages about that card. Or at least I'm hoping that I will be able to do so and keep at it. Dorothea Dix for the Page of Cups. Yeah, so that is the guidebook that I decided to go for. However, as a person who can never follow the rules, I did wanted to also give a shout out to the guidebook, the big guidebook for the Gentle Tarot. I have this one out all the time whenever I need, like, even if I'm not reading with this Gentle Tarot specifically, this book, I turn to this book if I want a different approach to a reading, or if I want someone to just give me some advice, some gentle and emotional advice. I always turn to Mari's book, the Gentle Tarot. You can even see the spine has gone a bit cracked there because I'm constantly just doing this, looking for the card I'm looking for. So yeah, the Gentle Tarot by Mari, or Mari in the Sky, and the big guidebook for that is definitely one of my most used ones as well. With that said, though, I do actually use the guidebooks. If there is a guidebook with a deck, I usually use it for every reading, almost, because I'm a guidebook gal. That's just what I am. Now, the next one is prompt number 14, a deck with water on the box. And I had a few decks that I thought I could show with this, but turns out it was more difficult than I thought to find water on a box. I thought that there was water on the box of the Tarot of Her, which is a newer deck in my collection as well. But I wasn't sure, so I went with the deck that I was sure had water on the box, and that is Tarot Landscapes by Vivida. Illustrations by Yoshi Mari and edited by Francesca Matteoni. Published by Vivida, this one. I did, however, see that this deck is being reprinted by the Vermilion Project, is that what it's called? This is also a box inside a box, and now it doesn't want to come out. There we go. So, box within a box. I have not been using this deck because the cardstock is really thick and awful, and I really don't like handling this deck. I'm so sad, but I think I will be getting the new version that I saw is coming out, because that one is going to be in linen cardstock, and I can't wait because this deck is gorgeous. I absolutely love this artwork. Look at that fool. This artwork is fantastic. It's so pretty, and I have not been using it because I don't like how it feels in my hand, and that is so important to me. I've noticed that I am getting increasingly picky when it comes to tarot decks. If the cardstock is too thick, too chunky, difficult to shuffle, I can't. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. I will not feel drawn to use it because I will not feel connected to it. If I have to, you know, struggle every time I touch the deck, I'm not going to connect to it. That is the sad truth. I have quite a few decks now that I'm so, you know, enamored with the artwork. Absolutely adore the artwork, but I'm not using them because of this fact that the cardstock is thick, chunky, warps, cuts into my hands. At least this one slides, so I can, you know, somehow shuffle it, but it still doesn't feel good in my hands. I love this. Look at that little raccoon with the huge egg. This deck, I love it. I love the artwork, but I can't with the cardstock. Oh. So yeah. This is such a pretty deck. Amazing. Amazing artwork. But yeah, so that's the Tarot Landscapes that has water on the box. All right, the last prompt is not an easy one. It says, a deck with your most favorite card ever and why. Now, this is like asking me to choose a favorite child. I was sat here thinking, what is my favorite card ever? What even is it? I, for the life of me, couldn't think of a single one because there's so many. There's so many cards that I absolutely love. So I just had to go for the first one that popped into my mind. And that is purely because it was the first one to pop up. If I had time to go through all my decks and look at all my cards and make a, you know, ranking kind of situation, I would. But I don't have that time and I don't have that energy. So the deck I've chosen to show you is the Bird cards by Jane Torian and Joyce Van Dobben. And this deck is one of my all-time favorite bird decks. And the card from this deck that is my most favorite card, well, I say ever in quotation marks, because I simply cannot claim that this is my favorite card ever. But it's my favorite card, one of my favorites in this deck, and it's my favorite because of what it's done for me and in my readings. And that is the Wagtail card. Now, I mean, it's not the absolute prettiest card that I have ever seen, I'm not gonna lie. It is not the absolute best deck in the world that I have, I'm not gonna lie. I have a lot of other cards that I could probably say I like better, in the sense that it's prettier or anything like that. But this card, I'm gonna get emotional, this card did something very, very special for me in a really great time of need. And it's very personal, and I'm not gonna get into it here and now. But that is the reason why this card stood out for me when I thought about it. This card was sat out on my desk for weeks because it reminded me of finding joy in the little things in life. And it took me through quite a dark period in my life. A while ago now. I'm not gonna say that, but it's stuck in my mind. It's stuck in my mind very clearly. So the Wagtail, the deck itself is it's kind of all about the energy of the birds and the lessons that the birds can bring you. And it also comes with a contemplations, like meditations and spreads for each card. So this card I pulled, and then I made the questions for this and the meditations from this card into a spread, and the surrounding reading was just, yeah. So the affirmation, there's an affirmation and there's a little prompt here, and then there's some information. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna go into details because it's very personal, but the Wagtail has ever since then just meant something very special to me, and I see wagtails around me all the time here at home. I'm just going to show you a few more of the cards from this deck, just because I love this deck and I want to look at it. It's I have a thing, if you haven't noticed, I have a thing for birds. Yeah, I also have their second deck, the Ascension to Paradise. That deck doesn't have as good a card stock though, so I don't really use that one as much. And it has a slightly different type of kind of feel to it. It doesn't come with the meditations and spreads book. I do use it. I'm not gonna say I don't, because I do. But there's something specifically about this one that I just love. And I love the soft colored pencil art. I have quite a few bird decks. Maybe I should make a bird deck video, just showing you all my bird decks. Yeah, love this card as well, the Wren card. I also love how a lot of these cards have crystals in them as well. So here we've got the finch with what looks like rhodonite. So yeah, that's the bird cards by Jane Torian and Joyce Van Dobben, and my favorite card ever is the wagtail. So, right, that was it, my guys. This was it. Thank you so much for this lovely tag to Feeding My Soul 1212. It was such a fun tag. I loved it. I loved the questions, and it made me think about my tarot decks in a different way. Finding boxes with clouds on them and water, and you know, the 12th tarot deck from the right was also a very fun one. So thank you so much for watching and participating in the comments, and I will get back to you soon, I hope. So yeah, take care, be well, see you later, bye.